be arguably the most chaotic year this fraudulent union called Nigeria has ever witnessed since it was fraudulently put together in 1914 by Lord Lucas. That's why you are seeing something that we haven't seen in a long while. It is 2025. Actual election campaigning began in January of 2025, and the election is still in 2027. When was the last time you saw something like that? You will see permutations and you see movement, but I'm talking practical, actual campaigning has begun in January of 2025 against an election that is supposed to happen in 2027 because there is fire on the mountain. The 1914 amalgamation that expired in 2014 and they refused to have a discussion about it, it is eventually about to manifest in the physical.
My people, there is fire on the mountain. This is eyes opener, like real shocking revelation from Joseph Okechukwu concerning Nigeria and Nigerians and 2027 election. This is a must watch. You know, we thought that 2027 election is going to be like war between the North and the South. But when you listen to Joseph Okechukwu in this particular video, you know that this is gonna be like war between the North and the West, like the Britain, who are now supporting Tinubu because of what they are getting from him. But before I allow you guys to listen to everything that he said here, that this particular exclusive breaking news today from West Africa Weekly, and it says Wike hide $2 million Florida mansion under wife and children's name. Documents expose wife as registered US Democrat. This is huge. And the sad part of it is that at the end of the day, nothing will happen to Wike, even if they find out that it's true. And of course, Wike is going to deny it, right? This is the reason why most of these people are fighting to make sure that Tinubu continues after 2027 the election, because they know that if they have a new government, it's going to implicate them. If you look very well, most people that are supporting Tinubu to continue after 2027, most of them, they are corrupt. Both people that are Nigerian and those that are not Nigerians. Okay, look at this particular one now. Somebody said, wow, and the US have continued to commit crime against the people of Nigeria by publicly endorsing the very corrupt federal government of Nigeria. Exactly. And this person said that the same United States that we verify tax history, income, work history, credit history, and so on of her citizens during home acquisition, we keep a blind eyes when a corrupt Nigeria politician buy $2 million home cash. No meaningful question asked about his source of fund. What is money laundering again? 5 to 10 years from now, when the corrupt politicians leave office and no more useful to them, they will make noise about investigating a corrupt Nigeria politician. The house and the money will be confiscated after US lawyers must have been paid thousands of dollars by Wike. Rise and repeat. What a country, what a people. My people, this is the reason why Joseph Okechukwu in this particular video said that this fight in 2027, because it's not going to be election, and it's going to be between the South and the West, like the West, Britain, USA, because of what they are getting from this Tinubu government. These people are really exploiting Nigeria, my people, and they will love Tinubu to continue. Let me allow you guys to just listen, because this is bombshell. This is eyes opener. You really need to watch this video to the end, and please share it, give it a like, so that YouTube will recommend it to other people to watch. And also, I would love you guys to leave your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this video? Thank you so much for doing so.
That's why I said to myself, no matter what happens, I am definitely going to make this video. It is arguably one of the most important videos I've ever had to put out there, and I'm going to plead with you right now. Please, whatever it takes, make sure that you help me to share this video far and wide. Let every single person who identifies as Nigerian or who has been trapped in Nigeria get to see this video, because it has a lot to tell you about the future, about what must be and what must happen in 2027. Okay, without much ado, I want us to get straight into it. About 4 months ago, I put out a video The title of this video is 2025, Nigeria, Niger Republic, and the looming Northern Revolt. Now, that video exposed something that I am 110% sure no one else anywhere has ever told you. That video literally exposed what just happened in Nigeria that many people did not know or did not understand or didn't even see coming. It explained how that the colonially instituted power structure that had been domiciled in the northern part of Nigeria for as long as I can remember had now been quietly in the cover of the night relocated to the western part of Nigeria. What that meant is that the northerners are no longer, as I speak to you now, are no longer the power brokers in Nigeria, that the Westerners have now become the power brokers in Nigeria on behalf of the colonial powers. If you haven't watched the video, you need to go see it because no one else is talking about that. And the reason they had to relocate the power structure from the north now to the west was because they found out that the north all of a sudden is having a little bit of a Russian problem. I explained in that video how that when we had that massive protest we had in Nigeria right after Tinubu was sworn in, we had a protest in Nigeria and suddenly we saw Russian flags all over northern Nigeria. And people were like, how did these flags get to northern Nigeria? And the flags were not found anywhere in southern part of Nigeria. And I explained it in the video that unbeknownst to all the people who were claiming to be politicians or who claimed to be Nigerian politicians, there was something going on in the north, a massive sensitization program that was taking place to sensitize their people on the need to align with their brothers in Niger Republic in building a relationship with Russia. Because Niger Republic, by building that relationship with Russia, has broken with the colonial powers, which is France. And so today, Niger has joined the League of the Nations and the Sahel that can now boast of true independence on the continent of Africa. They saw the level of liberty and freedom and wealth and greatness that came or that comes with that, and they kind of desired to have that. But unfortunately, we are roped into a union that can never work. And the reason the colonial powers did that is that whenever someone like the Northerners now decide, oh, I want to break with the colonials, they can easily relocate the power structure to the West and say, West, deal with them. And if the West gets up tomorrow and say, no, I think we have suffered enough under you, let us actually leave this thing, let us be on our own. They will say, oh, Igbo man, have you noticed that you've never ruled Nigeria before? Come and take over and rule and punish Yoruba for us and punish Northerners for us. And when the person comes to power, everybody will focus on the person and then start a tribal war. They will not think about the puppet masters that are pushing the people and orchestrating all of these things behind the scene. They will only be focusing on the individual. This is the kind of psychological warfare they have waged on us for so many years. That's what happened. I'm just giving you a recap of what happened in that video. And why am I making this video now? I'm making this video now because I have another beautiful prediction that I'm going to prove to you by so many things. 2027 in Nigeria is not going to be an election year. It's going to be a division year. 2027 in Nigeria will be arguably the most chaotic year this fraudulent union called Nigeria has ever witnessed since it was fraudulently put together in 1914 by Lord Lucas. That's why you are seeing something that we haven't seen in a long while. It is 2025. Actual election campaigning began in January of 2025, and the election is still in 2027. When was the last time you saw something like that? You will see permutations and you see movement, but I'm talking practical, actual campaigning has begun in January of 2025 against an election that is supposed to happen in 2027. Because there is fire on the mountain. The 1914 amalgamation that expired in 2014 and they refused to have a discussion about it, it is eventually about to manifest in the physical. You know, a lot of Nigerians don't know what happened in 1914. In 1914, we had the Southern Protectorate. There was the Northern Protectorate and there was Lagos. The colonial powers needed more control. And so Lord Lugard contacted the colonial office in London. And they, of course, approved his idea of amalgamating the units. So they now gave him an edict. It's a document. It's almost like a legal document that actually activated and put into motion the amalgamation of the Southern Protectorate, the Northern Protectorate, and Lagos into one nation. There was not even a name for this so-called nation. It was the girlfriend or fiancée or wife of that Lord Lugard, that I call the son of the devil. It was his wife or whatever that gave Nigeria its name. And now later they claim it was from Niger. They got it. No, it was out of a figment of her imagination. And in one document that I laid hands on several years ago, in one of the videos I put out, one of the colonial officers detailed exactly what the whole idea of Nigeria was. He said Nigeria was created as something that came out of the figment of the imagination of Lord Lugard, and that it was structured to function in reverse. I have the actual document. I put it in one of my videos. Have you not noticed that Nigeria functions in reverse? That when everybody is going forward, Nigeria goes backward. It was encoded in the DNA of that amalgamation because Nigeria was never meant to succeed. Anything you see in any child, go and check the DNA. It is there. In the DNA of the formation of Nigeria, this backwardness, this Stone Age mentality you see today, this whole backbiting and tribalistic agenda and warfare that you see every day was encoded in that DNA. Our forefathers didn't come together to say, let us form a nation and call it Nigeria. They lived autonomously, independently, happily on their own. But because of the resources on the ground, the colonials did what they did. And in that edict that created Nigeria, that fraudulent document, we were given 100 years to try and see if we can live together in harmony and in peace. It was contained in the edict. We were supposed to try this. It was a trial run for 100 years. And the thing said that if by 100 years we find out that we are still not able to coexist in harmony together, we can actually have a discussion to go our separate ways. You think I'm lying, right? You know, when an Igbo man says this, he says, oh, that's IPOB. He's looking for Biafra. Have you heard the name Ango Abdullahi before? He is the convener of the Northern Elders Forum. I am going to tell you what he said in 2024, just last year here. It's a long read, but I'm going to cut it short. Let me just read the part. And this is a direct quote from him. He says, in the edict, if you read it, it was clear that we were being encouraged from various backgrounds to come together and build a country called Nigeria. And our leaders at that time agreed that we will try. We will try. But we were advised in the details of the edict that we should be monitoring progress over the years. But the life of the edict was 100 years, which meant that the edict expired 2014, which is 100 years from its formation. This is Ango Abdullahi, direct quote. The caption of the stuff I just read for you now is, edict establishing Nigeria expired 10 years ago. Read it from the Sun. And we are still here, held together by force. You did not consult my ancestors when you formed your fraudulent nation. Even 100 years after, when we were supposed to now sit down as human beings and discuss the terms of our coexistence, you are still forcefully holding us down with your military and security apparatuses, which is what colonialism is all about. You can't talk, you must keep quiet. It has expired, but nobody is allowed to say anything. And the God in heaven knows that that expiration is going to be brought to bear. So, Ango Abdullahi now said it, that it has expired in 2014. When we screamed, I remember that time, everybody called us, oh, these Igbo people again. How times change. It is now the Northern Elders Forum that are reminding Nigeria that it has expired. They remember back in the days when you made noise, it was the Northerners who would rail against you. Oh my gosh, they will come after you. This is Nyamiri, what is wrong with you people? Nigeria must stay one Nigeria, one Nigeria. In fact, the greeting in Nigeria that gives you contract is one Nigeria. The moment you are seen as somebody who is advocating for the dismemberment of Nigeria, you become an enemy number one. They will come after you, which is why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is going through hell today. You cannot! And whatever you go through is going to come from the colonials through their puppets in Nigeria. So the Northerners were the holders of the colonial torch and mantle in Nigeria. The Northerners had all the power of the colonial powers in Nigeria. They were the ones who carried their faces around. So whenever you saw a Northerner, you were looking at the colonial powers. Whatever they said was final. Whenever they showed up in any matter, that matter was settled because they were the overlords. The power was resting on their shoulders. They had everything. There was nowhere a Northerner showed up that people didn't respect because the colonials put the crown of neocolonialism on their heads and they carried it very proudly everywhere they went. The power was too much. I am telling you, this is how I grew up. I grew up knowing all of this. So for those of us who have been oppressed from day one as Igbos in Nigeria, anytime we opened our mouth, the first attack will come from the north and then from the west. Never in my life did I think that we get to a point where Northerners will begin to also talk about Nigeria has expired. That is our lingua franca. That's our language as Igbos. I didn't think we were going to have brothers in that game, on that boat, or in that boat. No, it's happening right now. Why? Because the power structure has been relocated from the north to the west. And the north is feeling the pinch of it right now. And it is not looking very good at all. Let me tell you why I believe that 2027 will be hellish. And that may be the year we've been praying for all along. There's a guy, his name is Hakeem Baba Ahmed. Hakeem Baba Ahmed was a former special advisor on political matters to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He later resigned and got very angry, began to grant all kinds of interviews, telling the whole world that Tinubu is marginalizing the North. Of course, what do you expect when you are seen as someone who had betrayed your colonial powers and the colonial powers have now relocated the power structure to a Yoruba man? They have now given them the crown that you once wore. What do you expect? They will first punish you. After punishing you, then you will be relegated eternally to the background. And the North has seen this. They know this is what Igbos have gone through. So having been in that lofty position, that revered position, people that we worship, the kings, they can't fathom them coming down to the point of being slaves in a land where they once ruled as kings and rode the horses. Now they're going to be walking on barefoot. They don't know how to wrap their heads around it. So you need to understand their sentiment. That's why they can't understand why Tinubu must come back a second time. That's why they are shouting and screaming that no matter what happens, Tinubu will not return as president. They don't mind if you give them a chicken or goat from the south. They are not talking, let's go to the north, because they know there's a political arrangement that says the north will do 8 years and the south will do 8 years. Buhari has done the 8 years of the north. Tinubu is not doing on behalf of the south, but he's Gonna finish 4 years only. And in 2027, it's supposed to start the next 4 years. And they are saying we can't afford a 4-year term after this one that Tinubu is doing. He's not even up to 4 years, and look at how we are. The guy has finished us. I'll read you something. So this is what that guy that worked with Tinubu, Hakim Baba Ahmed, this is what he said. If they plan to rig election, they should be careful. Because why? It won't be good for Nigeria. Not for Tinubu, not for the political class, but for Nigeria. Mark this, for Nigeria. The North is watching. Elders, masses, and interest groups will soon say enough is enough. The injustice and sidelining of the North must stop. And now, let me read you what he now said here. He said, in the next 6 months, the North will decide where it stands. And that's politically, where it stands politically. Where it is now going to go. And then he goes further, he says, if the rest of the country wants to join us, fine. If not, we will go our own way. One thing is clear, nobody can become president of Nigeria without Northern support. So you see, El-Rufai said that Tinubu will be rejected in 2027 the way Jonathan was rejected in 2015. He said it. And everybody was attacking. Remember, El-Rufai was one of the guys in the inner caucus of Tinubu's pre-election political structure. He even went to the Chatham House with Tinubu when Tinubu was given that infamous document. They asked him a question at Chatham House. Everybody remembers that, right? And he couldn't answer the question. He started delegating answers to different guys who came with him. One of the people he called up to answer one of the questions was Nasir El-Rufai.
What are your plans for youth, young people? If you would like to answer the questions, Mr. Tinubu. Please, if we can keep quiet for one conversation here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Let me once demonstrate here. One of those philosophers I wanted doctrine that I believe firmly in is teamship. Unbreakable team. To demonstrate that, I will choose the first question, assign it to Dele Alake.
Okay.
And the second question, assign to Nasiru El-Rufai.
The other one was Ben Ayade of Cross River State, the former governor. 3 of them. So you can imagine for El-Rufai to have gone to Chatham House with him, for him to have called him up. The guy was so deep into the whole machinery that brought Tinubu to power. You know, Chatham House is where you have to go and present yourself and present your report card to the colonial powers. It's the modern day colonial office where they used to get permissions, like where they got the edict to amalgamate Nigeria. That's the modern one. They won't call it colonial office, but that's what it is. Because you don't become president unless you have gone to Chatham House, where they give you approval, where you sign deals and pledge your loyalty to the structure of colonialism in your nation. He took El-Rufai there. And today, El-Rufai is saying he will be rejected. But if El-Rufai has said that Tinubu will be rejected and all of the North, they are all with him. And this man is now saying that you cannot win elections in Nigeria without the North. And they are also saying that we will reject any attempt to rig elections again. If you see some of the elders talking in the media, they say, let the person who wants to rig elections again in the North come, we're waiting for you. I'm like, oh, so elections were rigged before? Is this confession? They say, never again will anyone be allowed to come to the North and rig elections. So this guy is saying the same thing. He's saying, without us, you cannot be president. On top of that, you are saying he will be rejected. So what does that mean? It simply means that the North is not going to give Tinubu their support in 2027.
But there is palpable anger in the North, and all the people around him, all those telling him that everything is quiet, they cannot go to the North and say vote for APC or vote for Tinubu today?
They are going to work against him in 2027, and that leaves Tinubu with only one option: secure the southern part of Nigeria, and then see whether you can pick a few states here and there from the middle belt. This will then explain to you why some of the drama you have seen in the South have taken place. You saw Edo State, right? We all know. How do you have the former president of Nigerian Bar Association and the consummate banker, and then you have this guy that is now the governor? How do you have those people and then you end up giving it? No, it's because APC must have the state. Even if it was a goat that was the APC candidate, that goat was going to win over those other two candidates that are eminently qualified, because it is all about the political calculations for 2027. APC must consolidate on all the political structures in southern Nigeria to the point that not one state is left vulnerable, to the point that the northerners can ever have anything to do with taking it. All of them must be ironclad, Tinubified by force. And not long after that, we had Delta State. Imagine everybody from governor, everybody, boom, APC. Are you joking? That is part of the structure consolidation. And that's why you have what is going on in Rivers State. Because Rivers cannot be allowed to be in the hands of somebody who is not completely sold out to APC. You can't play that game going towards 2027. We must have that assurance, or else you are out. So something that has never happened before happened. A civilian president ordered the kind of thing we saw that happened in Rivers State. Everybody was like, what's happening? It's 2027. And now let me tell you the one that will shock all of you. You see all those your governors in southern Nigeria, and I know when I say south, you are excluding southeast. All those southeast governors, the ones you love, the ones you hate, every single one of them, they have all been APC-fied, 110%. The ones who have not declared openly for APC will do it very close to the election, or even if they don't declare openly, all the political structures will be collapsed for the president. It is done. You've not heard it from anywhere else. So mark it that this is the first time and the first guy to tell you that. All of them are leaning towards APC, because APC, as far as the North is concerned, has been hijacked. It is now a Southern Revolutionary Party. Revolution, not the real revolution though. It's a Southern party. It's now a Southern political structure, not a Northern party anymore. So the South must agree that this is our vehicle leading towards 2027. So everybody who's a politician in the South, watch out. Almost all of them will collapse their structures into the APC as we get towards 2027. Because APC now, the North has given it up. It's either they are going to use a structure that is already in existence, or they will create a new one. That's what is going to happen. Now, it's going to be like the Southern Protectorate is about to go its separate ways. The Northern Protectorate is about to go its separate ways. And APC is the structure that is going to now help the South to pull out and go their separate ways. Now, there is a caveat to this. The North is saying, we are not going to let Tinubu come back. Based on the allotment they have received from the colonial powers, their population is more, even though they are in that region where people are not supposed to have a lot of population. But their population is a lot, and they are going to use it. Politically, it hasn't been changed. No census has been done yet. So for them, if they can secure all of the North before 2027 and make sure that they carve it out and prevent Tinubu from getting any access, they have a lot. If they pick up a few North Central Middle Belt states, they have a lot. Tinubu will then get stuck with the South alone. And if Tinubu is stuck with the South, do you know why Tinubu will not be too worried? Let me explain this to you. This is being played with the colonial powers. The colonials are trying to show the North that you guys are small boys. We are going to make you very jealous very soon. So what you see going in the South is not just a Tinubu smartness. It is not that, oh, he's very sagacious. The man is a... No, the colonials are doing everything to protect their interest in Nigeria. So where do you have all the oil wealth in Nigeria? Where do you have all the deposits of natural gas in Nigeria? You wonder why Imo was meant to be aligned with the power structure that rules from Abuja from day one. When was the last time a governor that is not aligned with the president's party ruled Imo State? You know why? Imo State is one of the richest states, not just in southern Nigeria, but in the whole country. Imo State has 200 plus trillion cubic feet of natural gas proven reserve. Over 200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas plus 163 oil wells or more in that same state. Qatar has about 843 trillion cubic feet. And that is what they sell the most, which is what they've used to turn their country into a living heaven on earth. Imagine Imo State, and the figure I am giving you can never be the original. That's official figure. If you go to the real figure, it'll probably be up to 400 trillion cubic feet of gas. Imagine that wealth. Imagine the wealth of the oil in the River State. Imagine the wealth of the oil in Delta. Imagine Abia. Imagine all these places. Meanwhile, as we were growing up, even up until recently, we all got to see that almost 80% or more of the oil wells in southern Nigeria, southeast, or whatever you call them, belonged to the northerners, because those guys were the faces of the colonials. They were the ones who held the mantle for the colonial rulership in Nigeria. It's called neocolonialism. Now, what will happen to all those oil wells? They will tell them, Oga, this thing you people are doing, remember, almost all your investments are in southern Nigeria. How many investments do you guys have in the north? Almost all your investments are in southern Nigeria. What are you going to do about this, sir? What are you going to do, northerners? What about the oil wells, which they are now even beginning to unbundle and decouple them from? They are now moving the oil wells to people, elements from the southwestern part of Nigeria. Have you noticed that one too? Tells you where all this oil money that we claim belong to individuals, where the monies go to. So I always say that the British are smarter than the French. The French will show you that they are on ground eating you, but the British will use people who look like you. You will never be able to point a finger to them. If you are not as sophisticated as some of us, you will know that all these companies and corporations you're seeing in your country that even have names of your language, that have your brothers and people you know as CEOs and chairmen, all of them are siphoning money and sending it to your colonial powers. So they are going to tell the North, hey, are you sure you want to do this? You want to play this game? There's so much to lose here. And by that time, the North will say, no, we're not going to lose anything. We're going to take what belongs to us. You are not born that you're going to deny us what we have worked for all these years. And what do they do then? They fight. That's why I told you that 2027 is going to be very chaotic, very violent. It's not going to be your usual election year. Quote me anytime, save this video. They're going to fight. They will fight seriously. They're already threatening that this is not going to be like when you will rig election and tell people to go to court. Let me read it for you. Let me read you. There's something I need to read this for you so you can see for yourself. This one is from where 2027 elections, go to court will no longer be tenable. Let me read you an excerpt. It says, any attempt by the government in power to manipulate the 2027 general elections will be resisted, and should the polls or the results be tampered with, this would create dire consequences for the country, not for the politicians. For the country. Nigerians will resist any attempt by INEC returning officers to announce fake election results. So all those things that happened in 2023, they are all indirectly confessing now. They are saying, no, you cannot rig and tell us to go to court. That in 2027, nobody is ready to go to court. They will fight. When you see them saying these things, they say Nigerians will resist. They have plans to resist it, to fight it. It's war they are talking about. But they are saying it in a politically correct way. War. And you, the southerner, where is your preparation? We are complaining that we have some foreign terrorists that have infiltrated all our forests, every part of the south. They are getting supplies of both their food and their weapons constantly. We have generals coming on TV talking, telling people, go and protect yourself. How much protection have you gathered for yourself as we go up to 2027? You see, the North has rejected Tinubu. If I want to put it correctly, I would say they have summarily rejected Tinubu. So, yeah, Tinubu might succeed in consolidating the structure in the South. But what about the North? And even if he leaves the North for the Northerners and still manage to say, I got middle belt, so I have won, they will still reject. So it's a lose-lose situation. So even if he wins, they will say he rigged it. And they will fight. And then what comes next? The division of Nigeria. And as Nigeria is dividing, if they don't get what they have invested in the South, they will destroy it. If we don't have it, you can have it. We're talking of a massive paradigm shift politically in Nigeria. No one is talking about it. It's huge. It's massive. That's why I say 1914, that curse of 1914 might be broken practically and pragmatically in 2027. It was supposed to be broken in 2014. We were supposed to come together and say, hey guys, it's been 100 years. Are we together yet? No, we're not. The Igbo man is still being hated by the Yoruba man. The Hausa man just still hates the Yoruba man. Everybody hates everybody. We are incompatible from top to bottom. We are not together. The only thing our division serves is the purpose and the aim of the colonial powers. Divide and conquer, divide and rule. They will just take a few of us, just like what happened during the days of slavery. They take a few of us, stupendously make them rich, fill them with so much wealth, give them houses in London and other places, and those ones will foolishly begin to betray and sell out anyhow. Even if you tell them to go and kill their mother, they will kill because of a few material endowments from the colonial powers. This is what we've been dealing with all along. That's why everybody is so excited about what is going on in the Sahel region, where we have young African men who have decided enough is enough. That whole game of selling out to the one who is our oppressor will never happen again. And this is why the North is fighting. Let me tell you this, because I don't want to miss this point. You see, I come from the South, and when I look at what is going on, under normal circumstances, let's say I don't know anything at all, but I'm just reading everything on face value, my first thinking and reaction will be, oh, we need to go with Tinubu now. Because look at so many things that the Northerners denied us then. We are now getting it. Can't you see that they're now building the coastal road? It's going to be the first highway ever, and it's connecting southwest and south-south. It's going to go through southeast. So the South has something that binds them together, and it is developmental in nature. Also, I should love this. What are you talking about? Look at now, they even made an announcement that the Enugu state government is going to start building railroads that will connect the One port from all the southeastern cities. So all the things we've never seen before, they're about to happen. Beautiful international airport is coming up in Enugu, and all these things, we've never seen anything like this. We've never had it this good. So I should rejoice. That would have happened if I didn't know any better. But at the end of the day, the question is, when we have secured the South and built a new form of unity and alliance with ourselves in the South, and then let the Northerners go, who are we going to be owing our allegiance to? Are we going to be like the Sahel states of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger Republic, who are now truly independent, or are we going to still continue to bow to the colonial powers who use IMF and World Bank every day to finish us? You saw when they were saying that Tinubu finished paying IMF loan. Do you know what Tinubu paid for? They used that IMF loan to buy this whole removing of oil subsidy. They use it. I'm going to play you a video to explain. Let me not explain it myself. Play you a video to explain to you what that IMF loan he paid back took away from Nigeria that can never be restored again. These people are canker worms and palmer worm. That's what I call IMF and World Bank. Canker worm and palmer worm. dangerous demons.
Nigeria just finished paying back $3.4 billion loan to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Great, right? Nope. Let me break it down. We got the money during COVID, just like many other African and global South countries. Then came the conditions: remove fuel subsidies, devalue the national currency, open the economy for more foreign control. What followed? Hunger, protests, broken systems. Now they are clapping because the debt is paid off. But what about the social debt? The lives broken, the schools unfunded, the food unaffordable. The IMF is not here to help us. It's here to restructure us into obedience. Nigeria paid back the money, but the real cost was our sovereignty.
Look at the poverty in the land. We are paying you back after stealing our destiny. But the thing you have done to us based on that money is still there remaining with us till tomorrow. Are we going to continue to be those people, even as the southern part of Nigeria? Are you separating from the north to become truly independent and cut all ties with the corporations of the colonial powers? That's not what you're about to do. And I am not going to be an advocate of that. Because if that happens, say for instance, the North will even say, hey, I don't care. Take everything that we have. We are going our separate way. Because now for the first time in my life, I'm hearing the language of the Southeasterners from the Northerners. Oh, Nigeria has expired. Oh, we want to go our separate ways. I just read it for you. And when the North begins to say that they are not like all the other people that are held down, these were the people who held the power. So they still have a lot of power swags with them. So they can pull it off. They can. And if they pull it off, even if they abandon everything they have in the South and they go, mark my words, only a matter of just a few years, people from the southern part of Nigeria, the southern protectorate that has now been separated and broken apart, will be traveling to the north for greener pastures. Mark my word. If that happens, the south divides, goes its way, and the north goes its way. And the north now decides to align with Russia and become as independent as Niger Republic. In just a few years, people will be running from the south to the north to go and seek greener pasture, because it is better to be free with so little than to be a slave with so much. If you gather all the gas and all the oil in the south and you're still loyal to the colonial powers, but the north is now free, few years, not up to 4 years, you will see people running from here, the southern part of Nigeria, and running to the north for greener pastures. We need to think twice about what is going on. We need to have leaders, not rulers, not sellouts, not puppets. We need to have people who are passionate about the freedom. You know how I look at puppets? Puppets are weaklings. They are people who have given up on trying for freedom. It takes a lot of balls and strong will to say you want to be an activist, to say you want to hope against hope for freedom. If those boys and those men in the Sahel region did not hope against hope, if they did not hold on to hope, they would not have achieved the kind of mighty miracle we are seeing today. They used to tell you, if you are a political student, or if you know anything about current affairs, you know that they have never been let out of the news in the last few decades. All those nations in the Sahel. Every time they tell us, these guys are poor. They are the poorest in the world, especially Niger. Poorest in the world. Burkina Faso, poorest. Mali, these guys have so much gold, especially Mali and Burkina Faso, that it will make your heart quake. Yet, not a single gold reserve. France has, I think, the 4th or the 5th largest gold reserve in the world, yet there's not a single drop of gold in their own land, because they have been ripping these nations off. They compel them to store up 85% of their own foreign currency reserve in Banque de France. which is in Paris. And when they need money, they will come back to the same bank and take back their own money as loan with a very high interest. This is what our people are dealing with. This is what Nigeria is going through in a different form, probably worse than that of the French colonies in Africa. And people are still being bold enough to say that, I love our politics. Whose politics? These are people who are cursed, and Mother Africa has arisen, and she will fight against every single one of them. Tinubu is fighting to consolidate the South, but the colonial disease of rivalry between Igbos and Yorubas is only gaining speed and steam. You know that in 2027 that all you've got, arguably, is not your Southwest, but Southeast. South-South, who are they? Igbos make up almost every part of South-South. They are everywhere. You have seen the ones from Edo State, Ibanke, saying, look, leave us, we are Igbos. You go to Kogi, you see them. Go to Rivers. Rivers and I went to see something in Imo State. You just walk, enter river. It's the same. They are Igbos. Forget Wike that's talking trash. He's an Igbo man. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. You need them. But you are boldly still allowing this psychological warfare, this battle still going on between Yoruba and Igbo. You people, I saw one news about Fidelity Bank recently. I'm like, is this not tribally motivated? Because what I was saying was not looking good. And you want to come in 2027 and say you want to rely on these people. You people don't understand Igbo people. You push Igbos, push Igbos, push Igbos, push Igbos. When they hit the wall and back you, they are ready to die. They're not, Igbos are allowed a lot of punches. We take too many punches. Then once an Igbo man turns and says, I've had it, get ready to die. Because you and him will die there. No one has seen Igbos yet. The only time they saw Igbos was during the Biafran War, when they didn't think they were going to face a whole nation in war, and they did it. No one, since then, no one has seen the Igbo. The day they see Igbos again, nothing will exist in Nigeria. I can bet my life on it. Such a horrible calculation. From everything we can see, you know you don't have the North. You should be cutting the Igbos, not by going to give stuff to political appointments. There's even no political appointment. You're just giving contracts to existing governors. Well, name the political appointees that came from Igbo land today in Tinubu's government. Name it for me. But you know these are the people you are going to rely on for 2027? It will be very glorious to see how that manifests. So 2027, in a nutshell, is a time bomb, a ticking bomb waiting to explode. It's waiting. Just a tiny little, and then it explodes. But you see, after hearing all of this, you're saying, Joe, you have told me about this side, and you've told me about this side. So you're here. Where do you stand? I think by now you should know where I stand. If you ask me, anyone that will help us to separate from the colonial powers, that person is who I am with. But I don't even know that either of these parties will be able to do it, even though the likelihood is more on the side of the North. Because now they have broken with the colonial powers, obviously, which is why they feel so oppressed, and they feel like if we don't pull out of this union, we will all perish in the second term of Tinubu. They know they will perish in the second term. So for me, it is who it is that will give us freedom. As for the North, they are still searching. What party are we going to use? What candidate are we going to use? Many of them are even looking at P2B as a matter of fact. Have you heard that? I'll read you something that will surprise you. There's a guy called Majid Dahiru. They call him political columnist and public affairs analyst, Majid Dahiru. Here is a political columnist and public affairs analyst, Majid Dahiru, has said that the administration of President Bola Tinubu would come to an end in 2027 if former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai is able to mobilize northern political influencers to support Labour Party's P2B. Let me give you his direct quote. His direct quote says, "If I may put it straight, The day El-Rufai decides and can galvanize the opinion molders in the North to zero in on P2B, for instance, as the candidate, that will be the end of the Tinubu administration, that Hero said. It tells you how politically powerful and strategic that man, El-Rufai, is. As short as he is, that guy is politically powerful and relevant in the North. This is a person that somebody would have said, no, but why would Tinubu even break with someone like this? If he's such a powerful political guy, he should know that this is one guy in the North you shouldn't have any issues with. But maybe destiny is plotting our freedom without us knowing it. So they are going to P2B. If they go to P2B and Obi accepts it, it is going to be a massive upset for Tinubu. And I'm sure that the Tinubu camp right now is feeling very, very worried about this whole political calculation. But here's what I said before, and I'm going to say it again. Anyone that is going to help us to break the curse of the forceful colonial amalgamation that has never worked for our own interest, but that has worked in the interest of the colonial powers, anyone that will help us to become like Niger, like Burkina Faso, like Mali, that is the person who has my support. Since we are no longer able to sit down and discuss our own destiny, after dividing Africa like a piece of cake in Berlin and assigning names and borders to us, you still come internally and decide that we will never have a say in the affairs of our own lives and destinies. And generations are coming and going and bequeathing this madness and anomaly to children unborn. It has got to a point where someone has to put his foot down and say, no, enough is enough. So I believe that maybe we couldn't do it ourselves, and destiny decided time has come. Just like time came for Africa. I used to tell people back in the days that in my lifetime, Africa will be free. They will say, Joe, forget it. Never. It's never going to happen. They killed Patrice Lumumba. They killed Thomas Sankara. They killed Muammar Gaddafi. Who is going to save Africa? It's never going to happen. And I said, no, my faith is very resistant and resilient. Hasn't it happened in my lifetime? Ibrahim Traore is there for Burkina Faso. Assimi Goïta is there for Mali. Abdurrahman Chiani is there for Niger Republic, and you're telling me that more countries are not going to follow. Watch. That's all I can say to you. Watch. Who knows if it is going to be Nigeria's time in 2027, when the evils of the past will be corrected, and when true freedom will reign, and the people can understand what it means to govern themselves, have the autonomy they need to govern themselves. You take a lot of things that actually are needed in the regions and you shove them into what you call exclusive list, whereby if I want to build a seaport in the southern part of Nigeria or in eastern Nigeria, I will have to wait for the federal government to give me permission. If I want to build an international airport that will beat anyone that has ever been built, I will wait for permission. They took away our autonomy, took away everything from us, and gave us corporations that run all the puppets that they put in power. When I see people look at embassies as the presence of colonial powers in their countries, or maybe presence of the West, I laugh. The real colonial powers you have are the corporations, the Shells, the Mobiles, all these big, they are the real, that's what they call corporatocracy. These are the guys who rule you, who own, who decide who becomes president. The colonials breathe and speak and see through them. That's why the moment Ibrahim Traore came to power, first thing, kick them out. Let go of them. Dislodge and dismember IMF and World Bank. Cut off the mind control propaganda machineries of the mainstream media. Take over your natural resources, the mines, the oil wells. Nationalize the wealth. You will become like Libya, that was called the poorest in the world. And later, the same so-called poorest became the richest nation on the continent of Africa. People lived better life in Libya than even people who lived in the western part of the world. Before they now went and gave Libya their democracy, to where everything is dilapidated, where you have more than 50 to 70 terrorist organizations. That's their democracy. And while all that is going on, they are now stealing the same oil. And we say never again. So don't get me to come and support your stupidity of aligning still with the colonial powers and trying to play the local geopolitical rubbish that you guys always play, and your tribal misadventure that you always pull. All those things are tired and aged and retired and gone. We don't care about those things anymore. We are tired of all that rubbish. We want real tangible leadership. Anybody who brings it, whether you're from the north, south, west, or east, you got my support. If Tinubu grows a pair tomorrow and say, you know what, I've had it, we're going to now set our people free. I know you guys are going to come for me and want to kill me. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to set my people free. IMF, get out of here. World Bank, get out. France, get out. UK, out. You, out. If you want to come back, let's have a mutual agreement based on respect. We cannot exist alone. We want to exist with them. We want to do business with you, but not that you are going to be peeing and pooing on my head. Your leg is on my neck, and you tell me to accept that as a norm, not again. Over. So, in summary, that's my rant. 2027 is going to be extremely mega chaotic. Make your plans. I'm telling you, when I tell you that people have had it, people have really had it. You live in a nation where terrorists, Boko Haram members, they kill and maim. Like they cut pregnant women's wombs and pull out the babies and kill the babies. There is no type of evil you can conceive that Boko Haram and all these terrorists have not done. Yet, we have a program in Nigeria where the same Boko Haram guys that we are told came from outside the country are made to go through so-called training program. And now they call them repentant Boko Haram and they reintegrate them into the society, telling them that they can actually become presidents. Jesus. This is true. Till tomorrow, they are still getting all of them, reintegrating them, and some of them are joining the force. There's one video I just posted. One of them was storing weapons from the military. He's a soldier working with the real soldiers. You can imagine how many of them are inside that military regiment. He will store weapons on his waist. There's a secret bag he put on his waist. He will take bullets, store them there, and then later, secretly, he will go and give it to Boko Haram members to come and fight. That's why recently we saw that Boko Haram went and took over an army base. They took it over, kidnapped, reportedly kidnapped. It is reported, kidnapped some soldiers, killed some, and burned out all the vehicles, and then took all the weapons there. Somebody posted that, and another person responded, you are late. This one happened yesterday. They have actually taken over another military camps. What is the fate of the people? How would you be expecting people to wish to be in a country like this? This was the whole plan. This was the plan. A nation that is in reverse, that will never experience a forward motion movement. Never. And that's what Nigeria has been since I have been alive. My parents lived and died complaining about Nigeria. Their own parents. It's been like that. This generation is the generation that changes it. And we are not alone. God is with us. So get ready for 2027 because it's about to go down for real. May God help you. May God help me, help us, give us the grace to be able to navigate these turbulent seasons ahead of us with wisdom. Love you as always, man.
Welcome to Shamras News TV.